Timothy Leary began as an academic psychologist, but his name would soon leave the lecture halls and become one of the most explosive symbols of the 1960s. His central idea was simple and dangerous at once. The human mind could be explored like a territory, but that territory was never neutral. Before Leary, psychedelics were mostly laboratory objects, studied by psychiatrists, psychologists, and a few curious researchers. With Leary, they became a public promise, changing consciousness, reinventing spirituality, perhaps even transforming society. Born in 1920 in Massachusetts, Leary trained in psychology, earned his doctorate at Berkeley, and then arrived at Harvard in the late 1950s. At Harvard, with Richard Alpert, he launched the Harvard Psilocybin Project, an attempt to scientifically study the effects of psilocybin on personality, spirituality, and behavior. His most lasting contribution may not be a single result, but a formula: set and setting, the idea that inner state and context profoundly shape the experience. In the Concord prison experiment, his team tested whether psilocybin, combined with group psychotherapy, could help prisoners change their trajectory. The reported results would be debated for a long time. Reanalyses later showed that the experiment was promising, but far less solid than once believed. In 1962, the Good Friday experiment explored whether psilocybin could occasion mystical experiences in theology students. But the more Leary spoke to the public, the more the line between researcher, media prophet, and provocateur became blurred. His phrase, "turn on, tune in, drop out," became a global slogan. For some, it was an invitation to awakening. For others, an irresponsible call to abandon social structures. That is where his influence became immense. He did not only change a discipline, he changed the imagination of youth, music, art, and media. But this move from the laboratory to the public stage also triggered a backlash: moral panic, bans, culture war, and the freezing of part of psychedelic research. Leary was arrested multiple times. He became less a professor than a figure in a political serial, pursued, defended, mythologized. His story also tells of a danger. When a scientific intuition becomes a mass message, it can lose its safeguards. Today, psychedelic research is returning to universities and hospitals, but with a caution that the Leary era sometimes pushed aside. Leary did not invent psychedelics, nor did he solve the mystery of consciousness. But he forced one question into culture: what happens to a society when it dares to see the mind as a world to explore?